Hey, good evening, John. Again, I'm going to play some Immaculate Grid. Coming off probably my worst game, I managed to strike out on both the rarity score and the timed version, and it was all on 40 doubles, which is a fun one. Like I like 40 doubles because you have to think about what kinds of players would hit 40 doubles rather than just knowing a player's stat card really well. Um, in my case, I didn't that strategy didn't really work for me either. So I thought Ryan Sandberg for sure had gotten to 40 doubles at some point. Turns out I was wrong. So we'll get back into it. We'll hopefully bounce back here. I say we. Most of you in the comments were able to get it, but it did validate me a little bit that some people are like, yeah, this one got me too. 40 doubles is a unique one. But yeah, let's see here. I guess we'll just pound refresh and go. And now we are rocking and rolling. Jose Lima played for both these teams. Great. Let's see. I think Larry Anderson. How about him? And then I know Lance Berkman works. Didn't even look at these yet. Let's see. Ty Cobb's gonna work. Ted Williams certainly works. This is just 40 WAR, which isn't really that much. And then 200 hits in a season. I already used Cobb. That might have been a mistake, but I know, let's see, that's an interesting one. Let's go Trish Speaker here. And then, go Jeter. And I'm going to say Harry Hillman. 109. 115 or so, just under 150. That was a little bit slower. I was thinking of 200 hit people, and I'd used Cobb. Williams was never going to work. Ruth was never going to work. Um, I don't know why that took me so long. I thought I was going to step on a landmine. Al Kaline would have worked. There were better. In fact, 1% with Harry Hillman, that would have been a good one to save for the next round here. But that 6% for Larry Anderson. He was traded for Jeff Bagwell. Bagwell was replaced at first base by Lance Berkman, so there's a little bit of symmetry there. And I guess let's see what I end up doing for rarity score. Cool. So back down and back up. I don't think there's been any consistency with how I've been doing the windows. All right. So I think you can go here and do Al Simmons. That's a super low one. Could also have done Al Simmons up there. Let's see, try to come up with some. How about for Detroit, Houston, Braves legend Eddie Matthews. He goes less than 1%. I believe Jose Cruz Jr. briefly amassed some time with both the Astros and the Red Sox. He goes 0.1. And then for Astros Yankees, that's a Dotel team. Octavio Dotel works, so will Kenny Lofton. I could use Kenny Lofton here as well. For over here, I think Earl Combs. I spell his name wrong. Oh, he has an E at the end. I believe he had some 200 hit seasons. He takes 2%. And for the Tigers, Heelman would have been a good one. I know Placido Polanco, I believe, had 200 hits in the air. He almost never walked. That one makes a lot of sense. I think Trammell will work for his 87 season. Kaline will certainly work. And I'm not sure on Harvey Keene. Um, yeah, I don't think I have any. I don't have enough confidence to go with Harvey Kane. I know he had some high batting average seasons, but I don't know how extensive his playing time was. Um, man, I gotta think he got there though. Um, who's some other good 40 WAR type players? Um, what the all-time triples leader, Mr. Sam Crawford? That one. He goes sub one. Not spectacular, but sub one. And then for the Yankees, I need a under the radar Yankee, if such a thing really exists. Someone who might have, and really where you, yeah, the easiest thing is if it's someone who just kind of popped in ever so brief, like Berkman would have been an interesting play here. Um, Cano certainly works, Jeter works, but I mean these are obvious ones. I don't want to go with those guys. Um, Phil Necro be an interesting play. He definitely works. Um, David Cohn will work and David Wells will work. Andy Pettit will work. Those guys were all in the 55 to 60 WAR range, I think. Pudge Rodriguez, that'd be a fun little play. Actually, Pudge Rodriguez works down here. What do we think of that? Better or worse than Lofton? Because I can use one there and one there. Let's do that. So that's sub 1%. And then what do we think about Kenny Lofton there? 0.1% from Kenny Lofton. All right. So did I use my, what about Geringer? He takes 2%. Okay. So Heelman would have been better. And then where to sneak in for the Red Sox? Garcia Para, I think will work. Jim Rice will work. I'm not 100% sure on Yastrzemski. Um, Nor am I 100% sure on Rico Petrocelli or Vern Stevens or Joe Cronin. 200 hits. Boggs will work. Wade Boggs, fun fact, I think there have been 8 or maybe 10 seasons all time that have featured 200 hits and 100 walks. Boggs has 4 of them. Like Helton has a couple. No one else is more than one. But Boggs is half-ish of all of those seasons. Because it's pretty impressive. If you draw 100 walks, you're not getting enough at bats typically to get to 200 hits, unless you're Wade Boggs and you're hitting 365 every year. So Boggs is the one guy who's managed to do that. I did write about Boggs in my one of my chapters. Um, the basic idea of that chapter being look at his best seasons for home run rate, yeah, uh, lowest strikeouts and hits, or something like I guess home runs per strikeout, and which seems like an interesting metric, but there's a reason I used it. Check it out. It's an interesting little case study on Wade Boggs is the only player since Ted Williams who could even hit 400 if you took his best attributes. I think Tony Gwynn worked if you took the strike season. But other than that, yeah. Anyway, that's a fun little detour. Hasn't helped me get an answer for this one. I think Fredlin works. Um, Not sure on Mike Greenwell or Bill Miller the year he won it. Nah, I mean, he hit 328. I don't think that's going to get you 200 hits unless you have a ton of plate appearances. I don't think Damon's going to work. You know what? I think Mo Vaughn actually got to 200 hits in 1996. It was the year after he won MVP. I also talked about that. I also talked about how the 95 MVPs got a little bit better the next year. And you don't really think of Mo Vaughn as racking up. Well, I guess you do. His name was Hit Dog, so shows what I know. But I'm going to try Mo Vaughn. He takes 1%. I get a rarity score of 7. So my time was not as great. For whatever reason, I kind of floundered on some really obvious possible picks. There were only, I didn't even mention Pedroia. He was the number one there. I did go with the number one people here, here, and here. Um, I'm surprised Cabrera is higher than Cobb for most hits, even with the acknowledged recency bias. Only 14 Yankees have ever gotten to 200 hits. That seems low. Now, I did Earl Combs, who's a little under 1%. Nobody's done it since Jeter 11 years ago. Cano did it a couple times. I was right about that. Forgot about Soriano's 02 season. He had a ton of plate appearances. So he only hit 300, but he had 696 at bats. That's a big number. Bernie Williams did it. Jeter did some more. Steve Sachs, okay. Mattingly, not surprising. Bobby Richardson surprised me. He had a reputation as a weaker hitter, but he gets 209 hits in the 1962 season. Snuffy Sternweiss. Well, now I have to use him. How could I not? He works for 30 stolen bases. He works for 100 runs scored, 100 or 200 hits, 300 average for a season. Did he only play with the Yankees? Because then he works for another one. No, but he works for Cleveland and Baltimore. So keep that guy in the Snuffy Sternweiss. And then I got Earl Combs, who did it a few times earlier with the Murderers. I think he hit second in that lineup. Lou Gehrig did it a bunch. That's kind of surprising given how much Lou Gehrig walked. Um, I guess I might have just been going from the modern era because it looks like Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig all did that. The 100 walks and the 200 hits, they did that quite a bit from the looks of it. I think I might have just been thinking from integration. I think that's the bound on that one. All right. Well, I'm pretty happy with the 7. Less happy about the 115, but that's all right. It's perfectly fine time. Thanks a lot for playing. It's a weekend. I might try to get a bonus game in. We'll see. And thanks a lot for playing. We'll be back at tomorrow. Peace.